Jason Carter was always the nice guy. Ever since high school, he had been the one who held the door open, remembered birthdays, and listened patiently to late-night rants from the girls he secretly liked. He grew up in a modest Michigan town where being kind was more than just a choice. It was expected. His parents raised him to be respectful, empathetic, and courteous. But as Jason hit his early 30s, something began to gnaw at him. Despite doing everything right, relationships never seemed to work out for him. He was always the friend, the confidant, the shoulder to cry on, but never the one women chased. He often found himself stuck in the dreaded friend zone, watching from the sidelines as the women he adored pursued men who didn't treat them nearly as well as he did. It didn't make sense to him. Why did being nice, loyal, and dependable never seem to be enough? The breaking point came after his breakup with Melissa. She was everything he wanted: smart, funny, driven, and gorgeous. They had dated for 6 months, during which Jason bent over backward to make her happy. He bought her flowers for no reason, planned thoughtful dates, and even canceled a business trip just to be with her for her birthday. But one Sunday evening, as they sat across from each other in a quiet cafe, Melissa dropped the bombshell. "You're a great guy, Jason, but I just don't feel that spark. You're too good to me. I need someone who challenges me." Jason was stunned. "Too good to you?" he asked, his voice trembling. "What does that even mean?" Melissa looked down, fiddling with the ring on her finger. "It's not your fault. You're just always available. Predictable. There's no edge. I feel like I know exactly how every moment with you will go." Jason left that cafe with a hollow chest and 1,000 questions spinning in his head. That night, as he sat alone in his apartment, sipping whiskey and scrolling aimlessly through social media, he stumbled across a video titled, "Stop Being Nice to Women. Do This Instead." Normally, he would have brushed it off as clickbait. But curiosity got the better of him. He clicked. And what he heard shifted something deep inside him. The video didn't preach disrespect or cruelty. It spoke about authenticity. It explained that nice guys often aren't nice because they genuinely want to be, but because they want something in return. Validation, love, approval. And women could feel that. It wasn't the kindness itself that was the problem. It was the hidden expectation behind it. Jason watched the video twice, then 3 times. Something clicked. He realized he hadn't been kind out of pure generosity. He'd been kind because he was terrified of rejection. He thought that by being the most agreeable man in the room, he could guarantee affection. In truth, he was hiding who he really was, suppressing his real thoughts and feelings to win approval. That week, Jason decided to change. Not to become rude or arrogant, but to become real. He made a conscious choice to stop acting based on fear or the desire to be liked. Instead, he would act from a place of self-respect and authenticity. He started small. The next time he went on a date, with a woman named Brittany he met through a mutual friend, he didn't pretend to love yoga just because she did. He told her honestly, "I've tried it a few times. Not my thing. I'm more into weightlifting." Surprisingly, Brittany didn't walk away. She laughed and said, "Finally, a guy who doesn't fake it." On that same date, when she asked where he saw himself in 5 years, he didn't give a polished, rehearsed answer. He told her about his dreams to move to Colorado, open his own gym, and live close to nature. She leaned in closer, intrigued. For the first time in years, Jason felt seen, not for what he was trying to be, but for who he really was. His friends began to notice the change too. No longer the pushover who agreed to everything, Jason now respectfully declined plans he wasn't interested in. He stopped responding instantly to texts if he was busy, and when he did reply, he didn't overanalyze every word. He spoke his truth, calmly, clearly, and confidently. Women noticed it too. They started to gravitate toward him, sensing something magnetic. It wasn't arrogance, it was clarity. He wasn't trying to be liked. He was simply being himself. One day, Brittany asked him what had changed. "You're different," she said over brunch. You used to be like every other guy, saying what you thought I wanted to hear. Now it feels like you don't care if I like you or not. And weirdly, that makes me like you more." Jason smiled. "It's not that I don't care. It's that I finally like myself enough not to bend over backward to be someone I'm not." His words hit her like a wave. It wasn't about playing games. It was about knowing his worth. Over time, Jason's confidence grew, not from external validation, but from internal alignment. He started his fitness brand, began mentoring young men, and even launched a podcast sharing his journey from Mr. Nice Guy to Mr. Authentic. He wasn't bitter. He didn't blame women. In fact, he had a new respect for them, for their ability to see through facades and seek connection with men who were real. Through his podcast, he often shared a simple mantra: kindness is beautiful, but when it's traded for approval, it loses its power. Men from across the country began messaging him, sharing their own stories. Some had been through painful divorces. Others were navigating the chaos of online dating. Many resonated with the pattern of being overly accommodating, overly available, and constantly overlooked. Jason didn't tell them to be cold or dismissive. He told them to be whole, to speak their truth, set boundaries, and stop pretending to be perfect. One of his most powerful episodes was titled, "Being a Good Man Isn't About Pleasing Everyone." In it, he told a story from college when he let a woman walk all over him because he was terrified of losing her. He recalled how he lost not only her, but his own self-respect in the process, and how reclaiming that self-respect years later had been the most important journey of his life. Jason never stopped being kind. He still held the door for strangers, still donated to charity, still treated others with respect. But he no longer used kindness as a mask. He used it as a reflection of who he truly was, a man grounded in self-worth. Years later, as Jason sat in the living room of his Denver home, Brittany beside him and their young daughter asleep upstairs, he reflected on how far he'd come. He wasn't a nice guy anymore. He was a good man, strong, honest, real. And that made all the difference. His story wasn't about manipulation or tactics. It was about self-awareness. When he stopped trying to win love through performance and instead stood firm in who he truly was, everything began to fall into place. The right people entered his life. The wrong ones drifted away. And most importantly, he finally felt free.